can imagine we will go for that any 3-star hotel or some hotel. First one person they came and they are asking to that what is that requirement. So they are writing to so and so so and so. After that again one more people if they are coming, then they have provided the slip to that person and they will be sent to that some kitchen, and some other person they will be taking off that your output items. That means 1 is equal to 4. 4 person they can do that work here, but robot is working on 1 person. See, you can difference of these two is not only previous days or nowadays, in future also, the human beings, that means the automations, it will be more and more accurate. So here you can imagine the output of the entire things is more accurate here. You will playing of that any chess game in that online, you have to provide into that some output. What is that output? Either you have to win that or you have to lose the game. That means you have to get that 100% of accurate output in that artificial intelligence. But in machine learning, just you have to get that some prediction output. What is the meaning of prediction? It may be or may not be. That is nothing but prediction. So now coming to that artificial intelligence. What is the importance of that artificial intelligence? So here, the more and more decreasing of the human beings here, and it is increasing of that robots. So I can consider to that one example. Nowadays, all that companies they are depending upon that artificial intelligence only. So here 100 employees is there. That 100 employees is equal to that one artificial intelligence. That means they are removing of that 100 people and they have to play that only one person. That is nothing but artificial intelligence. That is the powerful of artificial intelligence. That will be working of 24/7. Not only it is providing the 8 hours or 6 hours or 7 hours and etc. etc. So always it is providing to the 24/7. That is equal to the 360 days. Continuously it is working. So that means the companies are always thinking about to that profit. That means they are always making of that different roles. So here the meaning of artificial intelligence, where you have to learning and your academics. See the difference of you are using to that some professionalized learning experiences. What is the meaning of professionalized? You are go for that WhatsApp, AI Meta. What is the meaning of AI Meta? Just you have to provide into that some document in that particular search button. Automatically you have to get that a large number of the documentation it will be there. And also you go for the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is also one of the best example of AI. Just you have to provide into that some information regarding of your documentation. Always it is producing of that number of items. What are the items you require? Just you have to you have to consider to that lines or the documentation. Rest of documentation you have to review. So you can imagine it will be getting of that 100 pages of documentation. Just you have to type, you have to read and type the documentation. It will be taking of that 3 or 4 days time. Just by using of ChatGPT, just you have to getting of the 10 to 15 minutes of the time. You can imagine what is the meaning of 440. That means 4 days, and it is equal to that 15 minutes. That is power of AI. That is purpose of you have using of that in your academics. The next thing is AI tools and virtual assistants. For example, I will go for that some YouTube. I can search that some documentation regarding of that some game or something. Just I can providing of some documentation. It will be getting of that n number of the outputs. It will be getting n number of the outputs. For example, first output I can get that English only. So I am not understanding the English. Then I will go for the second one. Second one is getting of that Hindi. Again I am not understanding. Then I will go for that Telugu. Simply I can open that one and I can read that one. So that means if you have to any documentation you have to provide in that your search button, you will be getting of the n number of the outputs. That is nothing but assistance and easily understanding of the complex problems. Now, just in a few minutes ago, we are providing to that some documentation. So we are not providing of that some text documentation like Just I can providing of some points in our chart GPT. Just the chart GPT is providing to that two pages of the documentation. 2 pages of documentation. I can providing of 10 to 15 lines of the documentation. You can imagine. That is nothing but if any complex problems it is available, simply it will be reducing of that one and it is providing of some. The best example is quantum computing. In quantum computing, we are getting of more and more complex problems. Then you have to get that some solution of that particular documentation. So and smart notes, you know very well. Just you have to providing of so inheritance in Java. Just you have to type in your chart GPT. You can get that some smart notes. That is nothing but what are the documentation regarding of that inheritance. What are the programs requiring of that inheritance? All that it is providing. That is nothing but smart notes. That means in your academics, you have to use it to that different ways or different manners. Like the second one is whenever you have to use in your research. The best research, that means how you can find out to that your research supporting documentation is nothing but blank check. So you have to write that some 8 pages of documentation. So my question is, are you copied the documentation? No. Somebody is copied, somebody is not copied. How I can identify? We don't identify that. Simply you have to put into that your AI tool. It will be checking. It will be checked to that where you have to copy it, where you have to copying of the documentation with IP addresses also, with some address modes. That is research. That means that is nothing but plagiarism. Just you have to check that your plagiarism of your documentation. That means if you have to write that one paper, in another paper they will be writing of 2 different papers. The title is same, the documentation is same. But where it will be copied from one to another, just you have to check that AI tools. That is the purpose of AI tools and some grammatical mistakes. So unfortunately, we don't understanding of some preparation of some lines or something. Just you have to preparing of that some grammatical. That means entire statements it will be correct or wrong. That it will be checked. Grammatical mistakes and coding. This is very useful in your software industry. That means in your coding purpose, if you have to get that any bug is nothing but error. Immediately it is providing to that so and so line some error it will be there. So you can use this particular formula or some use this particular line. You have to debugging of your documentation. That is providing of that AI tool. That is nothing but debugging of your code. Then improve the quality of assistance. That means we are writing off in your documentation unnecessary words or unnecessary statements or unnecessary lines you have to providing in that particular document. That is no use in your documentation. But unfortunately, you have to write that something. So it will be assisting of that your documentation. That means so you have to removing of so and so lines. You have to deleting of this one. Then it is that more and more effective of that. That it will be providing of your programming also. You have to designing of that program. You will be writing of 20 lines of the programming code. Some other people they will be preparing of the programming just 10 lines of the programming. Which one is better? 10 lines of the programming code is better. How you can say that? That is nothing but very little bit of the programming code. It will be showing of the effectiveness of your program. That is, it is providing of that effectiveness and skills and career development. So it is providing to that online AI based courses. So for example, in before days, if you have to write that any test or anything here, there is no platform. Now, when 3 days back or 4 days back, you have to return to that some online examination. C programming, that while loop you have to write that some program. That is nothing but your writing of that examination, you have to use it to that some platform. So if you have to write that, that means you have to submit of your documentation, then you have to get that some particular marks. That means your score. Somebody's are copied or some Googlers they can use it and they have to write the documentation. That is also in against of your roll number. This particular person 8 times they will be using of that Google. Already that day we told that some particular person is copying of that. That means AI is assisting of where that means this particular person is copied of this documentation so and so. Then Google or something it